Fashion Club menyelenggarakan pameran yang menampilkan karya-karya mode para mahasiswa dan alumni BINUS untuk berkontribusi terhadap mode berkelanjutan yang terletak di FX Sudirman lantai 6. Lalu mereka juga mengadakan total 4 seri webinar dengan berbagai topik informatif untuk dijelajahi. Webinar hari ini berjudul From Waste to Fashion dengan pembicara tamu kami langsung dari brand Sejauh Mata Memandang, Ibu Citra Supyakto, pendiri dan direktur kreatif dari Sejauh Mata Memandang. Selamat sore, Ibu.
Selamat sore semuanya.
Dan moderator kami di sini, Miss Ratna Dewi Paramita, Kepala Program Desain Fashion dari BINUS Northumbria School of Design. Hai, Miss. Sebelumnya ada beberapa mekanisme yang harus diikuti oleh semua peserta. Yang pertama, harap matikan mikrofon Anda saat sesi sedang berlangsung. Yang kedua, untuk sesi tanya jawab kali ini, peserta diperbolehkan langsung bertanya selagi webinar ini berjalan. Akan tetapi, sebelum mengajukan pertanyaan, peserta bisa angkat tangan dengan klik di kolom reaction atau ketik di chatbox yang ada di Zoom. Yang terakhir, Anda diberikan link daftar hadir untuk diisi sebelum Anda meninggalkan sesi webinar ini nanti. Selanjutnya, saya serahkan kepada Miss Ratna.
Oke, terima kasih Yosela. Thank you so much everyone for joining us. Perkenalkan, saya Ratna. Tadi Yosela sudah memperkenalkan. I will lead the session for today discussion. Ya, hari ini kita akan adakan webinarnya dalam bahasa Indonesia, namun karena kita melihat ada beberapa ya dari student exchange, jadi nanti kita campur-campur aja ya. Nah, sedikit mengenai rangkaian webinar ini, diinisiasi oleh Fashion Club dari BNSD, namanya Fashion. Ya. Tema kali ini adalah Sustainable Fashion Campaign. Ya, teman-teman kalau mau ke FX bisa lihat langsung pamerannya. Dan kemudian juga ada series dari webinar session. Ya. Nah, ini merupakan webinar session yang terakhir kita seri keempat nih.
Bu Ratna, sorry suaranya kecil sekali, Bu.
Oke, apakah suara saya sudah terdengar?
Suaranya kecil sekali dan ada ya kecil banget lah kedengeran.
Oke, apakah suara saya sudah terdengar?
Suara Ibu jelas, cuman yang suara Ibu Ratnanya nggak kedengeran ya. Kecil banget. Bukan nggak kedengeran, kecil banget. Kalau suara Ibu moderator tadi jelas.
Oh, maksudnya Mbak Citra. Mbak Citra juga jelas sepertinya deh.
Bukan yang tadi ngomong, yang ngomong siapa, maaf nih, yang ngomong ini suaranya jelas banget.
Oke, saya Ratna jelas ya?
Ya jelas sekarang, makasih.
Oke, terima kasih sudah mengingatkan. Jika suara saya tidak terdengar nanti langsung saja ya disampaikan. Nah, sekarang kita santai aja sesinya ya, kita sesi talk show, nanti lebih banyak diskusi. Karena pasti teman-teman di sini udah nggak sabar nih pengen nanya ke Mbak Citra ya, speaker kita yang di webinar series terakhir kita kali ini. Nah, nanti jalannya webinar, peserta bisa bertanya di tengah-tengah diskusi ya, bisa angkat tangan atau tulis di chat box ya, nanti kita akan dengan senang hati langsung menjawab, jadi tidak hanya di akhir diskusi. Nah, pertama-tama saya ingin memperkenalkan Mbak Citra dulu di sini ya. Sebetulnya semua orang pasti udah tahu ya. Cuma karirnya dulu seperti apa gitu. Mungkin kita harus tahu juga ya. Jadi Mbak Citra itu sebetulnya memulai karirnya sebagai fashion stylist ya. Di satu majalah gitu di Jakarta. Di MRA Group ya. Kemudian dia itu juga kostum designer ya, atau sebutnya wardrobe kalau di film gitu. Nah, banyak sekali film-film terkenal ya yang Mbak Citra terlibat di dalamnya seperti Laskar Pelangi dan Atira. Nah, menang award ya sebagai best stylist dalam Indonesia Film Festival dan Maya Cup ya. Dan juga banyak film lainnya yang terkenal juga seperti Ada Apa Dengan Cinta ya, ADC pasti semua tahu ya. Kemudian Pendekar Tongkat Emas, Sang Penari, dan banyak film Indonesia lainnya. Nah, di tahun 2014, Mbak Citra mendirikan Batik Fashion House ya, namanya Sejauh Mata Memandang, yang terinspirasi dari keindahan alam dan kekayaan Indonesia, dituangkan dalam koleksi daily wear. Nah, Sejauh Mata Memandang ini sangat aktif dalam terhadap isu lingkungan ya, atau keberlanjutan, sustainability, ethical, dan circularity. Nah, aktivitasnya dilakukan dengan menyuarakan isu-isu tersebut dalam pameran mereka, ya seperti pameran Sayang Sandang, Sayang Alam, Laut Masa Depan Kita, dan Bumi Rumah Kita. Nanti kita bisa ngobrol lebih lanjut dan tanya langsung ke Mbak Citra ya mengenai detailnya. Nah, langsung aja saya mengundang Mbak Citra Subiakto di sini untuk berdiskusi. Halo Mbak Citra.
Halo Mbak Ratna.
Apa kabar Mbak?
Baik, sehat-sehat. Semoga semua yang ada di sini juga sehat semuanya.
Ini yang kedua kali ya Mbak sebetulnya ke BINUS ya. Dulu juga
Iya,
sudah pernah tapi sudah lama beberapa tahun yang lalu ya.
iya betul.
Sebelum
Belum bosen ya?
enggak dong, nggak bakal bosen tiap tahun juga nggak apa-apa Mbak. Nah, saya juga ingin menyapa teman-teman yang sudah hadir di sini ya. Ada 167 orang nih. Ini kebetulan paling banyak nih ya di antara webinar sebelum-sebelumnya. Nah, thank you so much ya sudah datang hadir walaupun kita running secara online ya, yang tadinya mau onsite dari auditorium hari ini. Semoga semuanya dalam keadaan sehat. Oke, untuk memulai sesi ini mungkin kita putar dulu ya, yang mungkin ada yang belum tahu Sejauh Mata Memandang itu seperti apa sih brandnya. Mungkin bisa bantu diputar teman-teman. Videonya belum terlihat ya. Oke, bisa diulang lagi. Oke, terima kasih Mel. Agak putus-putus ya tadi, agak kotak-kotak gambarnya, cuma nggak apa-apa. Kita sudah lihat gambarannya ya, moodnya seperti apa, tentang sejauh mata memandang ya. Modelnya juga keren banget ya, Mariana Renata. Mungkin kalau yang seumuran saya tahu tuh, tapi kalau yang muda-muda nggak tahu deh nih, mungkin udah nggak tahu. Oke, Mbak Citra, mungkin bisa cerita ya, can you tell us a bit about the brand ya, about sejauh mata memandang, because the name is very catchy. We just want to, we are curious ya, to hear how do you decided when you name the brand?
Halo semuanya, selamat sore. Terima kasih. Thank you for having me today. Sejauh mata memandang means as far as the eyes can see, and why I use that long names, and not easy to. It's not a daily words that we use, right? Gitu. Tapi saya rasa itu kata-katanya sangat poetik. Kemudian, as far as the eyes can see, itu adalah a words that I always said every time I go, I travel around Indonesia. For example, if lagi di pantai, at the beach, terus melihat ke laut, saya selalu bilang, wow, as far as the eyes can see, the blue ocean is so beautiful, or the mountain. So I use that words a lot. And I think that's also a very good, for me, I think it's very good, like a very positive words, like as far as the eyes can see, there's always hope. Something like that. Gitu. Jadi emang challenging, orang-orang selalu tanya, why so long? But I think I like it, and it has a positive impact at the words in a way, and poetic. Gitu sih. Terus and apa ya? I think you can see at the video, it's quite clear, right? It's about Indonesia. It's about how to make something from our ancestor still. Sorry, it's my cat. Still wearable till today. Gimana caranya supaya tetap nyaman, cuttingnya lebih comfortable, patternnya lebih now, lebih related to apa ya, situation yang zaman sekarang gitu. Jadi, and I think apa ya? Oh, baju-bajunya, pakaiannya, patternnya itu semua inspired by actually our national costumes, but we make it more comfortable, more now, so we can mix and match with all the clothes that we have today. And apa lagi ya? I think clothes-nya juga very suitable with our apa namanya, musim, with our season, because nowadays it's very hot. It's getting hotter and hotter, and I think our national costume is well proven that it's suited with our climate, and kira-kira gitu sih.
Okay. I think that's a very beautiful name, yeah, and it's very Indonesian. Yeah, it's a very common Indonesian phrase, yeah. If we see scenery, we see sejauh mata memandang, yeah. And I think a lot of brand starting to use bahasa Indonesia ya for their brand, ya mungkin jadi inspirasi mereka juga. Nah dulu saya ingat banget pernah nonton show-nya Sejauh Mata Memandang ya, tapi waktu dulu masih Scarf ya, belum jadi baju gitu. Cuma Mbak Citra udah berani bikin show sendiri gitu ya. Nah, dililit-lilit ya seperti baju jadinya gitu. And it's wrapped beautifully. So what is your decision at first when you open the brand and you start with a scarf, yeah, and then you develop it into a fashion collection now?
I think scarf is something very essential. It could be restyled in many ways, and it could be very playful, but it could be very formal too. Like I always have scarf in my bag. Even I like to wear very casual clothes daily. So if suddenly I have to go something more special, I just use the scarf and I look more appropriate like instantly.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. So jadi I think scarf is very easy to wear and it's very useful. And then dari situ baru kita start to make clothes. Make clothes dari scarf, starting with the scarf shape, different shapes, and then clothes-nya juga inspired by our traditional costumes gitu. Jadi berkembangnya pelan-pelan. It's all in a process, but I think I love process. We cannot make something in just one day. Everything is process, and I think process is beautiful.
Right. True. So if we talk about a sustainable campaign, that your brand has, how do you start doing it? How do you start thinking that, oh, this is the path that we should take? We should have a campaign on sustainable fashion.
I think in 2018, I read this news about the whale that there's a lot of plastic inside her belly, and she died. And then I read a book from Extinction Rebellion, and then it says how emergency we are already now. And I think they also said that if we knew about these issues, we have to share the stories, share the fact to anyone. Either our friend is just 5 or 5,000, but we have to share the issues. So I'm thinking about, okay, I have this textile brand, Sejauh Mata Memandang, and I think I can use it as a platform for me to share the issues, because I think that people who follow our social media maybe didn't follow like NGO social media, or those social media who share the news about how emergency we are now. So from that, then we start to make an exhibition about the climate change. We start with our first one is Laut Kita. It's talking about single-use plastic, and I think people quite shocked for that. But the aim is I want to make an exhibition that people can shop. At the exhibition we share all the data, all the numbers about how plastic is ruining our world, ruining our ocean. That's why the exhibition is called Our Ocean. So I think we start from that, and then after that we make an exhibition about fashion waste. Because I think people already know about single-use product waste, but I think people doesn't really aware about fashion waste. So we make an exhibition about fashion waste. I think maybe I should add because the reason why I make this exhibition about fashion waste is because I went to the river in Indonesia, the ocean, and the landfill, and I can see it with my own eyes how sad it is and how urgent that we all have to change. Gitu. Mungkin kita bisa kasih tahu videonya ya.
Ya, yang daur kembali ya.
Iya.
Oke. Okay, while waiting for a friend for the video, when you first doing your first exhibition, yeah, how do people respond to that? Do you think that's impactful?
Yes. Actually, it's very impactful. We can see all people that take pictures and tagging us, and they quite shocked about it. Especially when we make the exhibition about fashion waste, we put like a big giant words and says polyester is plastic. And I think it's quite normal for people doesn't know that polyester is plastic, it's oil. So that's quite a shock. And they were like, yeah, it's interesting. And everyone like asking, like, so what should we do with the clothes and everything? So yeah, it's really good.
Okay, we see the video first and then we continue with the discussion. We cannot see the image, Mel.
Tahun 2019, Gabungan Gerakan Kepedulian Lingkungan melakukan audit jumlah sampah di 49 titik perairan di Indonesia. Dan hasilnya, kalau berdasarkan jumlah tentu masih sampah plastik sekali pakai yang terbanyak. Tapi kalau berdasarkan sampah terberat, 55,9% yang ditemukan adalah sampah tekstil. Artinya perilaku kita sehari-hari itu sangat berpengaruh besar terhadap bumi tempat kita tinggal. Baik itu kita konsumsi beli baju atau makanan dan sebagainya gitu. Bila kita lihat di Sungai Ciliwung atau di laut kita, ditemukan banyak sekali sampah tekstil gitu. Dan rata-rata itu mereka terbuat dari polyester, jadi mengandung plastik dan tidak bisa hancur sampai kapanpun.
Hasil dari kami arungi Ciliwung dari tadi tempat kita jalan sampai Jakarta, dinding-dinding sungainya yang kemudian relatif rendah seperti ini, kondisinya kayak gini nih.
Fashion termasuk penyumbang 5 besar sampah di dunia. Dan kita sebagai individu, sebagai produsen harus benar-benar sadar apa yang kita bikin atau yang kita pakai sehari-hari. Kami membuat program Sejauh Daur Kembali, di mana kita mengumpulkan kain-kain sisa, kain perca, baju-baju yang sudah tidak bisa dipakai lagi oleh konsumen, yang produk kita maupun bukan produk kita. Kemudian kita kasih kesempatan kedua untuk menjadi produk baru, di mana kita berusaha menjalankan circularity, perputaran, circular fashion. Jadi setiap produksi yang kami hasilkan tidak akan terbuang ke laut dan menjadi sampah. Dan untuk yang tidak bisa kami jadikan produk baru, kami serahkan kepada pendaur ulang yang membuatnya menjadi benang. Bersama Sejauh Mata Memandang, mari kita peduli dan cintai bumi tempat tinggal kita satu-satunya.
Wow, keren sekali.
Mungkin abis ini kita bisa pasang video pameran ya.
Oh,
Habis
oke.
kita ini.
Ya, of course. Sebelum kita lanjut, ada Hendra Wijaya angkat tangan. Apakah ada pertanyaan? Ada ya, oke, kita lanjut dulu. Nah, yang ya
Tadi ke-mute ya. Tadi ke-mute
Pak
kayaknya.
Hendra,
Ya, ya sebelumnya halo Kak Citra.
Halo, Hendra.
I love your arts a lot, right? I see on the YouTube, and you are the one who gives the initiative, right? About fashion itself, and from your perspective, give me a lot of new things, right? Especially when you've been chosen in 2019 on HR as the Woman of the Years, right? You share about the consumer and how to become the consumer perspective. Yeah, first of all, I introduce myself. I'm Hendra, so I based in Singapore, right? I'm Indonesian and I'm native Indonesian, so I stay in Singapore in here. So far I only seen you in the YouTube, and it's like it's an honor, right? Today that from Venus. Venus is amazing, right? It's a great university, so he accommodate this kind of thing, so I can reach out to you directly because I have a few questions. So I'm not sure is it okay or not. Is it the topic only related with the waist, the theme waist up to fashion? Is it related to that, or I can ask about? Ask out of that. Is it okay for you, or we just stick on the theme itself?
it's okay, yeah. I think while Citra is here, you can also ask about the brand, yeah, and whatever you want to ask, as long as not personal life.
Selama nggak disuruh hitung matematika nggak apa-apa.
Matematika susah,
I'm also not good in maths itself. To be honest, I also love arts. I love arts a lot. So that's the thing. Also, I have a time last time to think, right? When I was in Indonesia, I'm thinking of want to take fashion at the time, right? But my parents against me to take that. But until today, I still have the passion itself, right? So that's why when I see you, you like give me the
It's okay. Actually, Hendra, my parents juga also stopped me from fashion school. Jadi dulu saya mau ambil art, but then my parents said, no, arts no money. So I have to take business school. But then I'm a good girl, so I finished school, and then after I finished, I told my parents, don't worry. Basically, parents just scared that we will end up in the street, right? So I just told them, don't worry, I will do the best I can, and I won't end up in the street. And they're like, okay.
Okay. And then, okay, that's amazing. It's like that. Want to ask also, like, when you start, is it how you to maintain between the passion, right? Because they also mentioned some people, if they have the passion, it will automatically created like autodidact. They call this autodidact. Kan? Jadi kayak suatu semacam autodidact, kemampuan langsung yang memang dia lebih cepat beradaptasi dengan mengikuti pendidikan formal gitu. Nah, kalau dari Kak Citra sendiri, apakah memang sempat mengambil pendidikan formal, or really pure from the autodidact and from the connection?
Enggak, pendidikan formalnya benar-benar business school gitu.
Wow.
Dan
okay.
Tapi sebenarnya dua-duanya sekolah apapun menurut saya bagus gitu. Sekolah apapun, karena kita kalau sekolah diajarin untuk ngikutin jadwal, ada deadline, bikin tugas, bikin skripsi dan sebagainya gitu. I think itu kan it's all about teaching you to be disciplined, to be to follow the whatever you want to do after finish school gitu. But then beruntung sekali anak BINUS bisa sekolah fashion. You guys are very lucky gitu. Tapi buat kita Hendra yang mungkin kita nggak sekolah fashion, itu nggak apa-apa juga gitu. There's a lot of source books, internet, museums, galleries, like kita bisa gali passion kita tuh sebenarnya apa gitu. Jadi there's always a way to to follow your dreams gitu. But of course, parents always wants to make sure your dreams make money, right? Can make you live in the future, right? Gitu. But karena kita sekolah business school, then we can. So it's okay.
Okay. It means there is no limit for that. So, and then maybe my next question is like, maksudnya gimana sih bisa sampai step ini kan pasti kan ya it's not easy, right? Ya, of course support from maksudnya dari proses perjalanannya begitu kan sebenarnya. What is the key sih? Apakah memang are you following like some of community or like really pure you put all your initiative like now seperti kita tahu semua kan digital ya. Digital ya. Jadi maksudnya gimana sih mungkin maybe if you don't mind you can share like some tips like
Okay. So maybe I'm quite lucky enough in my time magazine are still there. My time. There's a lot of magazine. Jadi kerja di magazine, I think it's one of the best way to learn more. Itu bisa jadi fashion writer, bisa jadi stylist, bisa jadi anything. You can learn so much from magazine. So waktu itu aku jadi semuanya cobain, harus bisa nulis, harus bisa bikin fashion spread, harus bisa bikin artikel, and even harus bisa bikin beauty column gitu. Jadi we learn so much. And then because you work in a magazine, then you know a lot of designer, a lot of companies yang around in fashion industry and people see your work gitu. So then after that people starting to call me for doing advertisement and then iklan, film gitu, music videos, and then all this celebrity styling. So jadi I think it's all different thing, but it's all ada benang merahnya. There's like it's fashion, but it's a different thing. But then I think, and then I worked for 6 years in a concept store. It's called Alun-Alun Indonesia. So, and I think that teach me a lot, like from administration. And di sana aku waktu itu jadi creative buyer. So we have to give input to all this pengrajin di daerah-daerah, someone who can make bags, someone who can make scarf, how to make it more sellable, how to make it more special, so people will buy. Like simple things like change the zipper, change the lining, things like that, gitu, change the colors. And so I learned so much for 6 years, and after that I decided to make a brand. And I think you're right, there's no limit. Like ada this one architect, he's from Sri Lanka, his name is Jeffrey Bawa. Dia itu lawyer, but then when he's 43 he changed jadi arsitek.
Wow.
So it's never too late, and then dia become a very good architect.
Okay.
So keep chasing your dreams.
Oh, nice. That's great. Thank you so much.
It's very inspiring.
Yeah, very inspiring. And then maybe my last question itself, like what is in your mind if talking about arts?
Arts?
Yes.
Okay.
What is something that like first, maksudnya gini, apa sih kalau misalnya kalau bicara art kan biasa kan orang terlalu banyak teorikal yang bahasa Bible lah kan bilangnya. Bahasa kamus gitu kan, cuma maksudnya pengen tahu sendiri yang dalam from your life gitu ya, dari Kak Citra sendiri, what is art means to you?
Aku anaknya nggak art nih. Sebenarnya gini, I think art is
Tapi art banget
a journey.
aku lihat di YouTube banget itu kayaknya apa sense-nya kayak aku pas lihat ih keren banget nih orang gitu loh.
I think art is a journey. I think everything is a journey. Dan mungkin saya dari kecil udah diajakin sama keluarga untuk selalu melihat hal yang waktu saya kecil nggak suka sih. Contohnya panas-panas, mesti ke candi, mesti ngeliat pameran, mesti lihat pertunjukan tari gitu. Nggak pernah diajak ke amusement park. Jadi kalau ke amusement park, kamu sama teman-teman aja gitu. Jadi maunya diajaknya ke tempat-tempat itu gitu. Tapi ternyata apa ya, it stay close in my heart gitu. Jadi setelah itu jadi semakin kepingin tahu gitu. Karena ternyata budaya kita, art itu semuanya sangat sangat indah gitu. Dan I think art is something that you can express yourself gitu, without judge. Kan orang di sini semuanya kurang kerjaan ya, they like to judge everything gitu. So I think with art you can be quite free to express yourself in a way.
Including this fashion collection that you have right now. It's part of your art.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
session. Yeah,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Mahendra. Okay, so we are still having time to discuss with Mbak Citra, but before that, I would like to play another video. One of the campaign from Sejauh Mata Memandang. Keren banget ya. Nah, tadi kita udah lihat 2 video dari Sejauh Mata Memandang aktivitas yang sudah mereka lakukan. Mungkin Mbak Citra bisa cerita detailnya ya Mbak tentang tadi yang pertama video Daur Kembali dan Bumi Rumah Kita ini. Itu sebetulnya apa sih, seperti apa?
Jadi suatu hari saya pergi ke landfill di Jakarta, ke sungai di Jakarta, river, sama pergi ke laut Jakarta, Ancol, di Kepulauan Jakarta, gitu.
Ya.
Terus di situ kita bisa lihat, I think it's important to see it ourselves, because if we see it with our own eyes, itu more impactful to us. And at those places we can see how bad the situation yang ada hubungannya sama waste kita gitu. And I think I'm the kind of person who prefer to think, ask, and learn, and try to do something rather than complaining to instances or government. Let's just do something ourselves, because actually that's our waste, and we are part of the pollution, because the system is already like that. So we all are automatically is part of the pollution. So I'm thinking, what can I do about this fashion waste? Karena belum, no one really think about it. So I talk with a lot of friends. I learn about it. I still learning and still have headaches, because the more you know, the more complicated it is.
Yes, true.
So yeah, true. So, but and then I asked people to help me to make this Dropbox program, so anyone can send their clothes to us. So it doesn't go to the ocean, to the river, to the landfill, and it could be, and we can make it to, and we can recycle it. So, but before that long process, like I Google search, like, is there any company who can do this and stuff like that? So, and yes, I found a few company and I approached them and talk to them, and some of them giving a very good feedback. And so yeah, so we make this exhibition, Bumi Rumah Kita. So at this exhibition, we collaborate, and it's all about collaboration. We cannot do this alone. It has to be together with different type of company. So we make a Dropbox. We collect that people can bring plastic waste, can bring makeup waste, can bring paper, and of course clothes. And then there we put information that after this exhibition they can send to who, they can send where. So this exhibition will keep going, the program. So, and yeah, so that's the exhibition that you see at, and then at the exhibition we also show the result that we make. So we make a few clothes with two types. One is upcycle, and one is from a recycle thread. So that can open people's eyes what they can do to their clothes, and that there's still a way, that the way forward is circular, and we all can do it, and it's just an event to open more eyes. I think everyone already knows, but maybe because of all the activities every day, and sometimes it's normal, we forgot about it, about the waste that we make at home. So it's more like an eye-opening. So yeah.
Oh, interesting. It's the era of collaboration. Yeah, like you said, we cannot work alone, so we need someone's help. Yeah, and I saw also on the last video you have so many collaboration, like brands involving in the exhibition. But I just want to know, what is the biggest challenge when you do this?
I think the
When you
biggest
start the campaign.
Okay, I think the biggest challenge is find, is there any place in Indonesia where they can process this waste? So I went to a lot of places and talked with the people which can and which cannot or yet. So I think it's more that, like, how to do, what to do with these clothes. And I think, and I want to add, like, the way forward is circular. It's about collaboration. It's about iteration, berulang-ulang. It's not just a one-time thing. It has to be, berulang-ulang, the iteration. And then it's about going on a journey, like going on a journey, how we as a creative people can make something beautiful, but not harming. It's not about harming the planet. It's not harming our future. It's all about our future, like, because we read a lot about it at the news, and I think we forgot. And I think this journey will open more of our empathy. It's not just about us. It's about we live in a planet. It's not just us. It's all about
the ecosystem, the biodiversity.
Yeah.
Wow. So how many exhibitions do you have until now?
Kalau about related to climate change, maybe 3. The first one is about plastic pollution, and the second one is about also plastic pollution, but we're focusing on for children, because I think children is our future, and they can tell their grandma and grandpa. And then the third one, it's about the fashion waste. I think the fashion waste is we make it twice in a different place, different mall. And I think about the related to climate change is 4. But before, we always make an exhibition about our pattern, our like one time we make a pattern inspired by children books, and we make an exhibition about it. Because you know what, I'm not a very good person in talking like now, but I prefer to have an exhibition so people can come and see and read, and they can have their own imagination about it. And I love going to a museum. I love going to an exhibition. I think it's easier for people to understand, and it gets more people to know your story, to know your brand, especially if it's in a place where people gather. So and it's easier for me. I don't have to talk much.
Yeah, exactly. As an artist, we love that so much. It's just incredible, how you go with the campaign, and integrate it with all of the activities, So let's say from the set of collection from Sejauh Mata Memandang, how many percentage are using the recycling fabric and the upcycling one and new fabric maybe?
So maybe we're still learning. So let's say the upcycling one, it's maybe 40%.
It's quite a lot.
I think it's not enough. We're still learning process, and I think 10% is we're using recycle, and then the 50%, of course, it's still it's still a new textile. Like the aim, the vision is, if we can create something, we can close the loop, so we can create something not from raw material. That's the best thing, but it's still a long journey, but there's always hope, and it's a good challenge. And I think reshaping fashion industry from linear to circular won't happen overnight. It's a journey of discovery that that starts from small but has endless possibilities.
Oh ya, great. Mungkin ini pertanyaan banyak yang penasaran juga ya, student-student di sini. If we talk about recycled material, the price would be pricey compared to new, fresh fabric. So how do you keep that in the business? How do you educate people so that they know and they appreciate more? If they buy something that okay, this is the story of the fabric itself. Do you think you are successful doing that?
Again, it's a journey, and yes, everything that is safer for the environment, of course, it costs more from. But when I think about cost more from what, like a T-shirt, 100,000 rupiah. Do you think how much the sewer get the money, or do you think how much the people who print the pattern, or can they send their kids to go to school, or we, like every time we eat every day, it's like cost more than that. So I think we all here now we're quite privileged enough to have this kind of life. But actually, there are a lot of people there who's having a hard time to make us all looks beautiful. So I think and circular fashion, I think, or recycle or something, it can. And I think people who can afford it, they can use other things, like they use it longer, they share clothes, or they prolong the product, maybe buy secondhand, or they make a program to fix or make clothes into another clothes, or something, like like everyone is very creative nowadays. And there's always a way for us to care, like reuse, remake, use all the product that hasn't been sold, or something like that.
So it's in the mindset,
Yes. And I think it's all about circularity, circular economy. I think everything has to be starting think like that. It's now or never. Like circularity must evolve beyond a buzzword until it consciously becomes our collective way of life. The fashion industry needs a redesign.
Yeah, true. Okay, thank you so much, Mbak Citra. We have questions here in the chat box, Dari Hendra lagi, kayaknya ini cinta banget sama Mbak Citra nih. Kak Citra, do you have developed society or community in your organization? Nah, ada nggak sih Mbak Citra membuat suatu komunitas gitu misalkan dengan pengrajin ya, dengan craftsman di daerah.
Oh, oke. Halo Hendra, terima kasih pertanyaannya. Iya, kita bekerja sama dengan banyak kelompok dari baik itu di desa atau baik itu di kota. Karena orang di kota belum tentu terlihat lebih beruntung daripada yang di desa ya, gitu.
Betul.
Contohnya dengan pandemik ini, kalau if we lose our job, kalau di desa masih bisa makan dari kebun, dari sawah gitu. Tapi kalau di kota nggak bisa gitu. So we work a lot with this group of people. Kalau di Jakarta salah satunya kita bekerja sama dengan these mothers from government housing project rusun ya, rumah susun di Jakarta Utara, rusun Marunda gitu. Jadi we work with them. Ini startnya mungkin tahun 2000, saya lupa, mungkin 2016 ya. Jadi waktu itu ada program, mereka itu dipindahin dari, mereka tinggalnya tadinya di tengah kota tapi di pinggiran sungai gitu. So and then mereka dipindahin to this housing yang far away di Jakarta Utara, which is usually waktu tinggal di kota they can easily walk to the street and sell tahu or something gitu. Tapi now because they have to move to this far away place, they cannot just do that. So ada program kita kerjasama di mana mereka mengajarkan tentang cara membuat batik, how to make batik, and then we work together with them. We give them pattern, and then so we work together since then. Gitu. And it's very interesting. Actually, from this project, it's me who learned so much from them because they don't have what's the word, DNA of an artist, of a family who's doing this batik works. Usually kan kalau di Jawa, di Indonesia, it's like a family business kan, ya, dari neneknya, anaknya, cucunya gitu. It's like that gitu. So these ladies, they don't have this experience before, but because they're willing to learn how to make batik, and they finally can make a beautiful batik that we design. And I think for me personally, it's like a proven for me, like you don't have to say apa sih, aku nggak berbakat. What's berbakat in English? I don't have the DNA to doing art or to make batik pattern, but these ladies prove me that you can do anything as long as you want to learn, you're willing to learn, and yeah. So for me itu kayak lebih berkaca ya. Oh berarti aku nggak, I cannot say anymore. Aku kayaknya nggak bisa berenang deh. It's just not me, because actually we can do anything, like as long as we kita mau belajar. Itu sih.
Okay. Wow. So we have other question from Melvina. Sejauh mata memandang has released 3 daur collection ya, which incorporate sustainable techniques. Apakah ini termasuk kontribusi dalam circularity? And can you explain more about which technique you use both in the production process dan pemilihan fabriknya seperti apa?
Oke. Halo Melvina. Jadi sejauh, yes, it's part of circularity. Cita-citanya sih kita sebenarnya kepinginnya semua produk kita bisa benar-benar circularity. Jadi nggak ada yang pakai raw materials, no more raw materials. That's the cita-cita ya. Gitu. So, but kita masih belajar. Jadi So for now, kita berpikir, what can we do? What can we do? Now, masa harus tunggu sih till the technology come here or whatever gitu. So what can we do now? Satu, kita bikinnya dengan menggunakan upcycle dari sisa-sisa our waste. Misalnya dari sisa kita bikin kemeja, sisa dari kita bikin baju gitu. Jadi all this perca itu kita bikin pakaian atau kita bikin jadi bags or many more gitu. Jadi intinya nggak ada yang terbuang ke laut gitu. Meskipun even if our product goes to the ocean, to the landfill, because we don't use polyester, it still okay. It can be degradable by itself gitu. Jadi kita berusaha memakai semua kain perca kita yang ada. Terus yang kedua, kita bekerja sama untuk membuat sebuah koleksi dengan benang dan bahan yang hasil recycle daur ulang dari kain-kain sisa industri-industri fashion di Pulau Jawa. Jadi misalnya pabrik celana atau pabrik kemeja, itu kan ada sisa-sisa percanya. Nah itu sama mereka diolah lagi gitu, untuk menjadi benang yang baru dan kain yang baru gitu. Nah yang sekarang kita sedang kerjakan adalah kita membuat program daur ulang dari baju bekas kita sehari-hari untuk dirubah, didaur ulang jadi kain baru, benang baru. It's more complicated, more manpower, because used clothes, it means there are buttons, there are benangnya, udah ada lapisan kain, udah ada zipper gitu. So manpowernya mesti ditambah untuk dipotong, dicopot, untuk semuanya di prosesnya itu. Setelah itu baru diproses, dicacah, respun jadi benang dan jadi kain gitu. Jadi it's a journey and it's still on process. Hasilnya juga menyenangkan karena kita sekarang lagi coba juga dites di Natural Indigo. So basically kita lagi belajar sebanyak-banyaknya gimana caranya. Jadi mungkin nanti Melvina juga bisa ngajarin saya gimana nih caranya yang lebih bagus gitu. Kalian kan ini the future fashion industry hope nih, ya kan gitu. Jadi saya malah senang banget nih nanti anak-anak dari sini bisa kasih kita input. Oh bisa bikin gini, bisa bikin gini.
Ya ada tuh Mbak yang lagi magang di Sejauh Mata Memandang.
Iya ya, aduh iya
mungkin
banyak.
Bisa kasih masukan atau contribute.
Iya.
Yeah, so it's about take action on whatever you can nih ya. Jangan nunggu-nunggu lagi ya, dan lakuin aja dulu yang bisa dilakukan gitu ya. Because there is no ideal term on this ya. But it's such a experimentation ya, really. Like you said, even brand sebesar seperti Sejauh Mata Memandang aja ya masih meraba-raba gitu, sama aja semua juga belajar gitu ya.
Benar-benar, sebenarnya intinya it's a journey of discovery gitu. Jadi start small tapi endless possibilities, itu udah pasti.
Yes. Okay, we go on to the next question from Jonathan. Hi Jonathan. Halo Kak Citra, I'm Jonathan from Binus Business School. I have a question. You mentioned several acts on dealing with waste, such as creating a drop box that allows people to drop waste, such as plastic, and it will be later be managed so it does not pollute the environment. I assume that is an example of sustainability by overcoming ecological problem. Do you have any strategy or practice that prevents that. Interesting. Ya, jadi yang campaign-nya sejauh ya ada drop waste ya dan lain-lain, ada plastik. Nanti kan berarti ada yang memilah-milah ya Mbak ya. Nah, apakah itu contoh yang tepat ya dari penyelesaian yang tepat gitu dalam isu sustainable ini gitu? Apakah ada strategi lainnya gitu?
Okay, I think terima kasih Jonathan. I think for me personally, I never said like there is such thing as sustainable clothes, for example. I think the most sustainable clothes is when we don't wear any clothes. That's the most sustainable thing, actually. So I think we at Sejauh Matang Menang also always discussing that we don't want to claim us as a sustainability brand because, for example, it's because it's a journey. And for example, in our office, we still use electricity, and like for example, from sending our clothes from our sewer to us or to the shop, we still use fossil fuels, things like that. So it's still a journey, but what's important is we have to think about how to be more responsible in every way, every action that we do. Even it's a very simple gesture, it's still, you have to, maybe what we do won't save the earth, but it doesn't mean doesn't mean we stop doing anything good. So I think, I think you asked me, is it the right way recycling? I think recycle should be the last thing to do. At the beginning, we have to think about when we design it, it has to be circular. We shouldn't design something linear, like just design, make, throw away. So it starts from the design, and then how to eliminate waste and pollution, and how we circulate products and materials and regenerate nature. That's the principle. So I think it's all come back to us, all these creative people here, to really think about it and consciously think, and becomes our collective way of life. That's we now is in a different world from 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So I think that it doesn't mean we cannot do anything beautiful or anything creative. I think now we're very lucky we are in this situation where we creative people have to think more, and I think that's the most fun. If it's just making clothes, it's easy for you guys, but then if you have to think about to make clothes that it will not making the world more not good, and it's not good. So I think recycle is not the best thing to do, but we still have to do it. Otherwise, it will go to the landfill and become poison. It will go to the ocean and it will poison the fish, and then the fish we ate and it will poison us. So it's not something that the best thing to do. And you can choose. There's a lot of company here now starting 2 years ago who did a lot of recycling, and you can see which one is good. Like some company maybe use some chemical that it's not really safe, but some company it's still safe. So you can learn from that. And I think yes, we have to take part of this, but most importantly is we have to buy wisely. I think that's the key. We have to buy wisely, we have to design wisely, and yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Citra. That's very insightful, yeah. So this is a very complex issue, yeah. So it's not just about Dropbox, yeah. So it's way more than that. We have so many questions here, yeah. But the time is running out, so I will try my best, yeah. But I don't know if we can cover everyone's question. So we go to Maria. Yeah, Maria have a really interesting question. Yeah, because she said that she personally supports sustainable and slow fashion. Yeah, but how do you manage a customer that do not necessarily care about the effort, yeah, that you do on the sustainability fashion, and compared to the aesthetic one, yeah, because people will still see the collection, yeah, what they buy, the aesthetic side, aside from the campaign that you have done, yeah, the story of the fabric. So it's still a niche market, yeah. So the question is, how do you forecast the trend, yeah, and make it to both artistic as well as sustainable?
Oke, ini dari Maria.
Yes.
Halo Maria, terima kasih pertanyaannya. Ya, market customer itu mereka biasanya they always, of course, first look at the aesthetic design, about how the clothes will look good on them or not. That's what the first thing kalau orang mau beli baju ya gitu. And I think it's okay. Maksudnya it's normal. Kita kan juga kalau mau beli baju kita ngaca dulu pakai and how it looks. And then kalau kita suka, then we look at the price. And then when we look at the price, kita kadang-kadang bingung, oh ini kenapa ya gini. So, but then it's our duty, or it's part of us that we have to explain gitu. Kenapa sih kita mesti care? And kamu jangan takut, the market is there, and you just have to make something nice. Well, kalian semua sekolah di BINUS ya, pasti bikin karyanya yang udah pasti bagus-bagus, no questions. Jadi, but you have to make something that it's relatable for them, gitu. Tergantung sih kalian mau bikinnya apa, mau bikinnya. I'm not a designer, I don't go to school for that, gitu. Tapi mungkin aku belajar di dunia fashion cukup lama ya, bikin kostum designer untuk film, bikin styling untuk majalah dan sebagainya. Jadi kita belajar untuk melihat, saya simple sih, saya kan nggak ngikutin tren. Gitu. Saya bikin sesuatu, we make something that can last long, like bisa dipakai like for another 10 years. I'm not following a trend. But if you make something that follow trend, it's also okay. Yang penting make something that people really love and wants to keep it forever. Itu. The problem with fast fashion is when you make something too following the trend and it's too affordable, then it's easy for people to just throw it because it's affordable and because the trend is cepat gantinya, and maybe bahannya juga cepat rusak, cepat melar gitu. So I think if you want to make something that's fashionable or following the trend, it's okay, but make something that it will orangnya yang beli, they love so much the clothes that they want to keep it and they don't want to throw it, and maybe they will wear it in maybe they don't wear it next year, but they will wear it the next year. You know, it's something that they will keep it in heart because the design is so nice gitu. And sebenarnya the most important is choosing the textile, choosing the material. It's one of the most important thing. Bisa pelan-pelan, mungkin nggak bisa langsung. Kalian mungkin kan masih pengen bikin baju begini, pengen baju begini, and of course it contains polyester gitu. So if you make something with polyester, kalau bisa jangan terlalu banyak, but then make sure the person will keep it forever, so it doesn't go to landfill or the ocean gitu. And then pelan-pelan kalian bisa evolving the way you design into something that yang suitable for our future, that it has to be kayak film Dune gitu, you know, film Dune itu kan kayak dia bisa bikin baju yang bisa saking air tuh susahnya nih di 20 tahun ke depan, dia sampai bisa recycle, bikin baju. Saya juga mau kalau tahu bikin recycle keringat kita jadi air minum kita sendiri gitu kan, karena air tuh udah susah, it will lack gitu. Itu contohnya sih. But basically don't worry, the market is there, you just have to tell your story gitu, and people at the end mereka akan rata-rata customer kita mereka lebih kayak gini, suka sama desainnya gitu, terus pas beli ternyata ini ya, bahannya ini ya. Then they will post it in their IG stories, IG post dengan bangganya. Yes, I shop, tapi I should shop responsibly. I shop responsibly because it won't be a waste. And then kita kan juga bikin program setiap beli pakaian kita nanam pohon di konservasi hutan di Leuser Aceh gitu. So banyak banget yang posting yang yes, aku berdosa nih belanja gitu, tapi dengan belanja ini aku juga menanam pohon gitu. So there's always a way untuk orang bikin jadi lebih sadar, lebih aware, dan orang itu sebenarnya berdasarkan pengalaman kita dengan customer, orang itu seneng banget if they do something meaningful gitu. Mereka pingin melakukan sesuatu yang berarti atau ikut, tapi nggak mau susah gitu. So if your clothes udah cukup bertanggung jawab, responsible enough dibikinnya, dan mereka akan bilang itu dengan bangga gitu. Aku pakai baju yang tidak ikutan merusak lingkungan gitu, or something. So just tell your story, be honest. Be honest, kita belum sempurna, it's okay juga gitu. But yang penting don't stop and keep making effort.
Wow. Oke.
Mungkin aku boleh tambahin satu lagi. Mungkin gini, kalau misalnya kalian belum bisa langsung bikin karya yang sangat bertanggung jawab, bisa mulai dari packagingnya. Kalian bisa mulai dari packagingnya. Kalian bisa mulai juga dari misalnya benangnya atau kancingnya gitu. Jadi bisa dari hal-hal kecil. Mulailah dari hal sekecil mungkin.
Okay, thank you so much, Mbak Citra. I think the time is up, but we still have so many questions. I'm going to have a final question. Maaf sekali.
Bu gurunya pinter kok, Bu gurunya pinter. Tanya Mbak Ratna aja pasti bisa jawab semuanya.
Nih Mbak. Nah ini pertanyaannya menarik nih dari Fatur ya. Tadi Fatur tanya, pernah nggak sih Mbak Citra tuh ditolak gitu sama satu institusi atau perusahaan gitu atau orang gitu karena idenya ini untuk recycle used clothes ya, dan gimana sih bisa sampai akhirnya seperti sekarang gitu?
Oke, halo Fatur. Kebetulan belum. Kenapa? Karena biasanya saya sebelum approach ke perusahaan, aku pasti nanya-nanya ke banyak orang gitu. Kira-kira perusahaan yang ini yang punya gimana sih? Gitu. Apakah orangnya kira-kira peduli sama lingkungan atau enggak gitu. Jadi intinya berkomunikasi dan banyak tanya gitu. Jadi
research dulu ya.
Jadi research dulu. Jadi nanya-nanya temen sebanyak-banyaknya gitu. Jangan malu bertanya. Sesat di jalan itu bener banget gitu. Jadi biasanya nanti dikasih tahu, oh yang ini jangan deh, kayaknya mereka kurang peduli kayak begitu-begitu gitu. Oke, jadi kita nggak tanya. Terus yang ada dua company ini oke kok gitu. Jadi kita ngobrol, terus rata-rata mereka semua kalau berhubungan dengan lingkungan mereka tertarik. Karena apa? Karena satu, banyak yang bilang gini, iya Mbak, saya udah berdosa lama nih, udah berdosa banyak. Jadi kalau ada yang mau ngajakin bikin sesuatu yang bisa berguna untuk cucu saya masa depan, saya mau banget. Cuma saya nggak tahu caranya gimana, or kayak gitu. Gimana caranya misalnya mengerahkan orang ngirim baju tuh gimana, saya nggak tahu caranya gitu. Jadi there's always a way. Kalian mungkin lebih jago kali ya dengan ya internet and everything. Aku tuh gaptek banget ya. Jadi aku kayak pelan-pelan gitu, mesti cari, mesti tanya orang gitu. Tapi pasti bisa kok gitu. Tapi emang disaring dulu. Oh yang ini kayaknya enggak, yang ini enggak. Jadi supaya kita nggak buang-buang energi kebanyakan gitu. Dan mungkin juga kebetulan saya punya privilege yang kenal banyak orang dunia fashion, dunia industri ini gitu, dari media dan segala macam. Jadi saya banyak bertanya gitu. Saya juga banyak kenalan juga dengan orang-orang yang mengerti tentang sampah gitu. Ada banyak banget gitu. Ada gerakan diet kantong plastik, saya tanya ke mereka gimana, atau ada gerakan yang bersihin laut gitu. Jadi it's all about collaboration. Dan kolaborasi bukan hanya dengan orang fashion sih, gitu. Bisa dengan bermacam-macam bidang.
Ya, oke. Thank you so much Mbak Citra. Sepertinya itu menjawab pertanyaan dari Josephine juga ya. Dia tanya how to manage to find the right people ya. Seperti tadi Mbak Citra bilang, bisa tanya-tanya dulu sebelumnya. Jadi ketika proyeknya jalan itu udah pasti oke gitu, karena sudah research duluan ya. That's a good tips ya. I think for me, my final question for you is there any tips for our young generation yang sudah hadir di sini ya, yang masih punya semangat yang tinggi mungkin untuk cita-cita bikin brand sendiri gitu, and want to be responsible as you said.
Oke. Terima kasih untuk hari ini. And I think circular design offer us a truly meaningful challenge, and one with the creative license seperti kalian to rethink everything we do and why we do it. And I think right now is the most exciting time to be a fashion creative and just be part of the solution, not pollution.
Okay, that's great. Be part of it, yeah, because you are a society, yeah, from this planet.
Yes.
True. I'm so sorry again that I cannot read all the question ya. Mungkin kita harus bikin ronde 2 nih webinar dengan Mbak Citra. Okay, but just to sum up our discussion, we have talked about the campaign, the brand, the journey that you have for Sejauh Mata Memandang, and it's all about collaboration work. We cannot do this alone, and we cannot be perfect. We need to do experiment, do it slowly, do it what you can, be creative. Yeah, like Mbak Citra said, don't be afraid. Yeah, whatever you are selling, the market is there. You just need to have the research, the eye, yeah, and networking. Yeah, and also from Sejauh Mata Memandang, we also learn about how to have a good brand story and the value, so people appreciate you more. Yeah, not just about buying a product from a brand, yeah, but also the story behind it. Yeah, and again, my last word is a journey. Yeah, take action, no matter how small it is. Learn, try to be responsible as we can for a better future. Thank you so much for all the participants who are joining us today. Sorry, we are running late, but I think it's a really good discussion. Thank you so much also for Mbak Citra who's coming here. Yeah. Oke, thank you so much. Jangan kapok-kapok Mbak kalau diundang.
Sama-sama, terima kasih semuanya.